Hello and welcome to our Time 4 Machine Heavenly Hercules assembly video. This is part 4. Now we take the parts that we've just assembled on the previous page that we were talking about, where you had the eyelets and everything. You take these two little tabs right here and you push them up through the floor of this piece that we were working with a while ago that had the bends on it. One thing I noticed also is they do not show you that this tip right here, this part, will end up having to be bent about 90 degrees. And I'll show that to you. So anyway, we've inserted these two tabs into the floor of the what would end up being the floorboard of the fuselage. Sorry. And those end up getting twisted in just a bit, but first we want to take these parts off of sheet number 4 and a couple of these little tabs from sheet number 1, and you're going to take the two pieces of metal and you're going to bend them what looks like 90 degrees here and 90 here, same way with the other part. But what will happen is you end up comparing it to the drawings here, so it's more than a 90. It has like a bevel on the bottom of it, and then you end up joining the two together. Once you've bent the two pieces, you line them up next to each other and insert these two little tabs, and then you twist them as you see here. Like I mentioned, this little bend is not illustrated anywhere that I could see. They also show you bending this part down and what'll end up being a bulkhead slightly bent here in just a bit. But right now we're gonna take and join the floorboard piece to the forward boat tail form, nose cone, and forward end of the fuselage here. They also do not show you twisting these two tabs, which I've looked through the manual and it looks like it's okay to go ahead and bend them. They show these two flattened here, but they do not show these done in any sort of way. So then you take parts from number 2, the sheet number 2, and take these two little pieces off. And those are going to end up going on the nose cone right here. And then you're going to bend some tabs and you're going to insert the little small nose cone piece right here into the slot of this piece right here, and then into the two little slots of this piece, of these side pieces here, and then you're going to end up bending them. Now here they show you swinging these two parts of the what I thought was going to be the windshield back 90 degrees this way. And at first they just show you bending this way. Now in a later step, they're going to show you bending this down even further, and these two tabs are actually going to go through the bulkhead, and these two tabs are going to go into the floor. And we'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, now we take part of the tail section off of sheet number 3, and also another little round bulkhead piece and the tail section off of sheet number 3. These little tabs get bent straight up, and then they get slid into the tail section. Once they're slid into the tail section, then you take the little half moon, whatever you want to call it, bulkhead, stick it down through the slot and into the tabs. And then once that's done, you can bend these tabs over. I bent one forward and bent one backwards. Like I said, this bend here is not illustrated anywhere that I could see, but now they show it at a 90-degree angle. This is where you attach the tail section to the rear bulkhead of the cabin. And then you twist the 4 pieces. This is what I have so far. And I'll show you parts that we're talking about. You can see some illustrations of what I've done here. And notice how the front nose cone is slightly bent, and it's not a regular 90, it's past 90. So like I said, they don't tell you at all to bend these tabs, but I went ahead and bent them. Here's our tail section that we were just talking about. That's now attached, and the tabs are bent. But what will end up happening is they're going to show you bending this again and then folding this bulkhead piece over these two that you just folded back in a previous step. So I recommend that you cautiously don't bend the bulkhead down until you bend these 2 tabs backwards, and make sure that you can line the bulkhead up, the slot on the bulkhead, with these little teeth that come off these parts. Once you get them, you might have to push up on them with your finger and push down on this part and push up on these side pieces to get them to line up into the slots. Push them through the slots, then push the bulkhead down and into the slots on the floor of the cabin. Then you can bend these tabs, and then you can take your pliers and twist the tabs under the floor. And I think that's shown here. But that's not this part here. This is where they show you the bulkhead, is what I was trying to show you here. We'll do the gears and stuff on another step. But what I'm talking about is where they finally take this and bend it down over these tabs right here. So I haven't done the gear assembly yet, but this shows where the tabs were twisted for the bulkhead. And they also say bend the eyelets underneath the cabin floor. And I went ahead and said bend these tabs right here just ahead of the gear, and then the other bends they're showing are the bends on the gear itself, which I have not yet installed. So that's my fourth step, and thank you for watching.